Welcome to Heel Heat. This is this week's episode of the TNA and More show. My name is George Coles. This is my tag team partner, Alpha.
Gary Rhodes, the voice of the voiceless.
All right there, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
Well, being this is a TNA and Others show, we really don't have much to talk about others, so let's go right into the TNA show. We had a hot pay-per-view that happened this weekend, Hardcore Justice, which really was just another Impact episode with some gimmick matches, another build-up show for...
The ladder match was good. I didn't like the outcome, but, with the Shelton save, but...
Yeah. The ladder match was a good match. There were good matches, but to me it came off as another Impact because it's still building for Bound for Glory, and they're using pay-per-views to build to other pay-per-views, which...
You shouldn't do that.
No. But, the pay-per-view was okay. If you've seen it, you understand what we're saying. There wasn't really nothing special.
It wasn't worth $50.
No.
Whatever they cost.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't paid for one in years.
That's what you get the internet for, folks.
And then, we go right into the Impact show this week. You got Aries starting off the show in the ring. Coming out, talking, challenging the Aces and Eights, which brought out Sting and brought out...
Jeffrey Nero Hardy.
And Bully Ray.
Bully Ray. Capzilla. Good boy.
My boy. Everybody's boy.
Yeah.
He should be. Mark's a good worker.
Mark is a good worker. Right. Anyways, I thought it was a good opening segment. I like it when they just get into wrestling, but it was a good change for them, as long as they don't keep doing it and copying Vince.
Well, the thing is if you don't do the same thing every week, it works. Mm-hmm. If you do something different, then yeah, I get it. It makes sense. I didn't mind so much them starting off with an interview. It's not like Raw where 990 of them start off with an interview.
And it's a 45-minute to an hour-long interview right at the beginning of the show. But let's not even talk about Raw. This was a strong enough show. Yeah. I don't think it was as good as last week, but it was still pretty good nonetheless.
Yeah, TNA is solid. It's been solid for a little while. If you've been hesitant to watch it, like we have in the past, they've really picked up their production value. They've really picked up their storylines. The in-ring talent is as good as it's ever been there.
Oh, yeah.
But it's something, definitely check it out. If you're checking out this show and you don't watch TNA, give it a chance. You might like it. I like it personally. I think TNA Impact, I think, is the second best show wrestling-wise on TV right now.
Since Jarrett's been off there, and I've never really liked Jarrett. I've always been sour on Jarrett. The show has gotten a lot better.
Jarrett and Hogan.
Yeah, and like I said, Hogan will be back next week, so
yeah,
we'll see how that goes.
Speaking of Hogan, you had the Aces and Eights, the on-running gimmick, the gang that they have there now. They almost got Brooke Hogan tonight, which I was cheering for because I don't want to see her on my wrestling show.
No, I didn't want to, hear her on my radio, and see her on my television, so I really don't want to see her on my wrestling either.
No. She's horrible. She can't act. The only reason that she's there is that she's Hulk Hogan's daughter, and I guess she needs something to do. Her reality show got canceled. Her singing career has failed miserably. So I guess they need to give her something to do.
You know what? We'll just do it a favor and we'll stop talking about Brooke right now. We'll do what everybody else should do.
Right. And they almost got her. They got ran off. I think it would have been better if they got her. I think it would have built their character better. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, but who knows what Spike TV has in their rules and regulations of everything right now.
It could be, but I doubt with they got Mansers and 1,000 Ways to Die. Do you really think them clotheslining a girl is going to be against what they have? They got worse stuff happening on the shows that lead into Impact.
Yeah.
But you got the match that I think is my disappointment of the night because I like both the guys in the match. One of the guys is my favorite guy there at TNA, Samoa Joe and Magnus.
It's like they're not really giving Magnus a time to shine. And I think, they did it for a while when they put them two together as a tag team.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, well, we're just going to let you flounder for a little bit. And I think he's too good to be let flounder. I think once his contract's up, I think Vince got his feelers out for the kid. He's 26 years old, 24 in that area. He's a big kid. He's got athletic build. He's got a lot of talent, and he's a great talker.
And he's got a good future ahead of him. I think he's one of the futures of the business. If he stays in TNA, I could easily see him being a main player on TNA for a good long time. If he goes to WWE, he'd be a main player there too. He's that damn good.
Right.
But I think, and then you got Joe, who I know, if you guys have been watching, Joe's my favorite guy in TNA, other than the Dudleys. But I love Joe. I'm a big, huge Joe fan, and this is probably one of the worst Joe matches I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Joe had a while where he was uninterested in wrestling, and he put on some really bad matches, and you could tell, and some weight. And he's got the weight off. He's got more interested, but
focused.
This is probably the worst Joe match I've seen in about a year and a half, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Probably since back to when Taz was managing Joe.
Yeah, well, I think with Joe is just they gave him that monster push, and no one could beat him. Then Angle beats him.
Yeah.
Then he beats Angle. And then, they were going good. Then they just put, what last year's Bound for Glory series, I don't even think he had 0 points or something like that. They buried him last year.
They screwed him over on that. But, it is what it is. And speaking of the guys in the Bound for Glory, you had the backstage segment, which I think was probably one of the highlights of the night.
Oh, yeah.
With Daniels and Kaz and AJ.
And I didn't used to like Kaz. I really thought he was just a body, a ring filler. He had some decent talent, but never could really hold the mic. I think with this whole ordeal now, I'm liking him more and more every week. He's good with the wisecracks. He's a good antagonist.
Well, I think it's who he's working with too. It's two guys that he's basically come up with. It's easy to riff off of guys that are your friends. As you can see with us, we make fun of each other all the time, and it's easy to do that because you know where you could go with them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's showcasing him. I mean, Daniels and AJ have already been main eventers in TNA. AJ's one of the people you think of first when you think of TNA. And Daniels has been on the top of the card, everywhere on the card, carried every belt except the world belt. So, I mean, I think it's really building Kaz. It's showing, he's had some championship runs, but he's had some terrible gimmicks since he was there. I thought it was terrible when he was aligned with Raven. I thought, there was a couple things that they weren't great that they did with him. And,
Well, look at Daniel, some of the bad gimmicks he's had.
Yeah.
But, I have to say, to his credit, with the Suicide and Curryman, they kind of screwed him, but he made them both get over. Curryman was pretty damn over. Him and Sharkboy.
Curryman's over in Japan. That's why they brought it here. That's who, when Daniels wrestles in Japan, he's Curryman.
Mm.
And that's why they brought, it's a goofy gimmick.
Well, they like the goofier stuff.
Yeah, some of the
cartoony stuff.
But, they're a good guy. It was a good segment. Led to a good match with the three of them all involved. Mm-hmm. Had a good ending. I liked the whole thing those three put on this week. I liked everything they did. I thought it was good.
I thought it was solid. It was one of the most solid segments of the show.
Yeah. And, to segue, the question of our week last week, you got the two guys from ECW, two of the ECW originals, started up their own promotion. Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer. The question was, whose promotion do you think is going to do better? Now, we have an opinion of one of our friends. We're going to read that here. It's our friend Paul, again, from the Deadly Sins. Check them out. They got great shows on YouTube as well. And his opinion is he has to go with Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore. I saw the poster, and it looks like it's going to be a great card, and Dreamer has a great mind for the business. I tend to agree with him. I like Douglas. I like Shane Douglas a lot. I think that Tommy Dreamer hasn't burnt as many bridges, so he's going to be able to get more people to show up on his show. Now, if Shane hadn't burnt the bridges that he's burnt, he'd probably have a better show, because I think Shane is a genius.
Well, we talked about that in the ECW DVD review we did. That Shane's biggest problem has been Shane.
Yeah.
In his career.
And he's killed all of his pushes basically.
Oh yeah. But
what do you think out of the two of the two of the shows, whose do you think is going to?
I like Shane better than Tommy, but I knew Tommy's would go over because, like I said, he hasn't burnt as many bridges as Shane has, and he still has that McMahon touch. I'm sure he's not angered McMahon. I mean, they gave him a hell of a send off, and whoever's in WWE or TNA, I'm sure him and Dixie are fine too, where he can borrow from their rosters, and I don't think Vince or Dixie have a problem with it.
I don't know if you've seen, but his first show, he has Edge showing up for a contract signing, which is big. Edge is a year removed from being headline at WrestleMania. I mean, it's not like we're talking about a guy that's been out of the business for 10 years showing up for a paycheck. This is a guy that's still big. And I think the consensus is, and it seems to be what everybody told me, or everybody's opinion's pretty similar, that Dreamers is going to be more successful. I tend to agree. Gary tends to agree.
Like I said, if wrestling mind-wise, I would go with Shane all day, but his ego is really what burned all the bridges.
Yeah, and that's hard to get back from. And you know, talent's got a question. You know, if I work for Shane, am I going to be able to get a job with Vince? Is he going to hold that against me?
Or am I going to get a job with Dixie because he's spewed some stuff about Dixie too?
Exactly. And, you know, and that leads us into the question of the week for next week, which, it kind of a little spin-off on this. What wrestler, if you were to start wrestling now, what wrestler would you like to be trained by? Whose style would you like to incorporate?
It could be current guys or girls or past.
I need to think about the girl aspect.
Exactly. I bring out all. You
really
think you have all the answers, and then I change the questions.
I'd like to get trained by Lacey.
Oh my goodness. Anyways,
she could put me in a head scissors anytime, GR.
I'm sure she could.
That's right. Love you, Lacey.
But like I said, I mean, it's a wide variety. You got so many people. I mean, you got the Malenko families, the Harts, of course, the Guerreros.
We'll leave
well,
that
I'm just
for
saying.
next
I'm just
week's
explaining. I mean, there should be a lot of different ones. I'd like to see some off the wall answers this time. You know.
You want to see the off the wall answers, like someone like Tajiri?
Yeah, I think Tajiri was an awesome performer.
Yeah, you got. What about Hornswoggle?
All right.
Well, you know,
Tiger. What was his name? The little guy, Tiger
Jackson.
Tiger Jackson. He could do it too.
Max Mini.
Exactly. Dink, Doink, or Wink, or whatever their name was. Anyways,
that was Tiger Jackson.
That was. Yeah, I just remember it because the obtuse face.
But let us know what you guys think. Hit us up on Facebook, on Twitter. Put it in the comments down here on YouTube. You know, we want to know what you guys think. We'll tell you what we think next week of it. But, you know.
Well, let's get to the main event of the night. Hardy versus Bubba Ray, whatever you want to call him. How did you like the match?
I think it was a solid match. You got, again, like the Kaz or not Kaz, Daniels and AJ, you got guys that have worked with each other probably a million times. I don't think you could do, when you put these two in, Bubba knows what works. Hardy knows what works, and they know how to put a good match together.
They know how to push each other, and you know, they know the philosophy, or the psychology in a ring against each other perfect. Honestly, I would have gone for Bully Ray winning over Hardy, just for the plain simple fact is, you know, Hardy's track record.
Yeah. Plus, if you're going to build it up, it's a Bound for Glory point system. I'd want the heel to win the Bound for Glory because you have a face champion.
Well, okay, well, you look at it this way. He beat Hardy at the pay-per-view through the table.
Yeah. And
then last week he beat Daniels, Storm. And that was a solid win. He used the Bubba Cutter on him. I just like the way they... it's the Bubba Bully Cutter.
Well, they called the Bubba Bomb the Bubby...
the Bubba Baby Buggy Bumpers? Awesome.
My name is Buh.
Is that how he did it? Devon did it like that and pushed him to the Bubba Ray? Exactly. See, I remember this.
It was Big Dick that did it, by the way.
Well...
He didn't stutter when Devon was with him.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know their biography.
Get your history right.
Trying.
But anyway, they did the Bubba Bomb today, which is a sit-out full Nelson bomb, and they called it the Bubba Bomb. Nobody corrected it.
You know, the guy's been around for over 20 years.
He's Bubba.
He's been Bubba for 16, 17 years.
And it was Brother Ray and now Bully Ray.
Exactly. You know, he's always going to be Bubba Ray to me.
To me too. I mean,
but back to the match. I thought it was a solid match from both of them.
Yeah.
You know, Hardy, he's actually putting effort into it. He's actually gotten in better shape.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the scuba shirt he was wearing. I don't know if he was going diving after the match or not, but
I'm not a big fan of the face paint from Hardy. It's, I mean, not enough knocking the guy. He has his fans. He has tons of fans.
He does.
He's the biggest merch seller they have in TNA. But I just don't like the face paint. I don't like what he's doing with it. And I like painted guys. I like guys like Vampiro, Great Muta, Legion of Doom, Sting. These guys, I like what they do, but there's something about the way he does his, I just don't like it.
Well, another thing is with this show that we actually it just come up is a lot of guys weren't there this week. RVD wasn't there. Crimson's working OVW right now. They sent him back down.
They sent him down?
Yeah, he's going for the OVW championship.
And where was Devon? Devon's supposed to defend that title every week. Garrett Bischoff?
Exactly.
But,
I mean, you got these guys that've been kind of, around this
Zema Ion, Kenny King.
Exactly. These have been major guys that have been around the major storylines. Well, Zema Ion being the X Division champion, he should be at every show at least.
Well, and and then you got the end of it's what it is. They got these guys missing. Then you go to the end of the main event. You got the Aces and Eights run in thing, and then the locker room clears out to chase him out. Which they come back out and attack James Storm, as to show that James Storm is not the leader of the Aces and Eights.
They beat him up pretty good too.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
No, I mean the Aces and Eights did very good this week, but me and George have to agree that Kaz and Daniels are the heels of the week.
That's what I would go with. I would definitely agree. Daniels and Kaz, between the match and the backstage segment they had, you don't have to win. This is professional wrestling. The wins and losses don't matter.
Exactly.
It's what you do when you're out there. You're still collecting the check, and they look like $1 million out there. They furthered the crappy storyline they're stuck in. They made it more interesting. They put Daniels had a great match with AJ, and Kaz added a lot to the match to the outside.
I think right now that talking about the word psychology earlier, Kaz has really worked his in-ring and out-of-ring psychology to a T.
Well, he's gone from being a spot monkey to someone that's actually working good matches.
Well, with Kaz, the reason that they dropped the suicide angle for him was because Hogan thought he was a handsome guy and wanted it for the girls, so for their eye candy. That's what that's what he was around for, was the eye candy, and he's actually turning into a polished wrestler.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. I mean, he's been about 10 years in the business, and he's fine. I think Kaz is at the best that he's ever been right now.
Oh yeah.
And it doesn't hurt that he worked with Ric Flair in the past couple of years, and Hulk Hogan, and guys of this nature that could really help bring him up to that level.
I liked the Fortune gimmick when they had it.
Yeah.
I thought they were good. I liked AJ as a heel.
But they didn't want to go too far with that, I guess.
Nah. Well,
AJ's the face of their business.
He is.
Yeah. I mean, AJ is the face of TNA, not Jeff Jarrett. It's AJ. AJ's the guy you think of. I mean, he's the face, and he's their John Cena.
Mm-hmm. He don't have to hold a belt to be their number one guy.
No.
Just like Cena. I mean, you don't need to hold the gold when you are the number one guy in the company. Yeah. When you're collecting that big check.
Well, all in all, I think it was a good show. I would give it probably a 3.5 stars out of 5. What do you think?
I was going 4. I'm going 4.
You go with 4.
It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't. I mean, but it wasn't. It wasn't terrible.
Well, it was definitely.
But it was above average.
There's room for improvement, I would say. Which and speaking of good shows, there's one that we've talked about a couple times. It's not a wrestling show, but it involves a wrestler, and I know that you like it a lot.
I do like it a lot. It's Off the Hook.
Off the Hook Extreme Catches with Eric Young. It comes on, I think it's 8 o'clock Sunday nights on Animal Planet.
But this weekend is SummerSlam. So you got to put it on your Betamax and make sure you set it right. Put tape in there and tape it. Hit record. Record it and then watch it after SummerSlam.
Yes.
Or they get those DVRs and stuff. What do these kids got nowadays?
you can DVR it.
That's that stuff.
Betamax it, put it on VCR, watch it on a pirated copy.
I'm so old, my cell phone has a dial on it. Bobby Heenan joke. He'd say something like that.
But yeah, it was a good. It's a good show. Check it out if you like fishing. If you like Eric Young, I don't like fishing that much, but I like Eric Young and I like the show.
He's an awesome guy, man. I just think that TNA should give him some more stuff, give him some more room. But
yeah, it's a good show all in all. I mean, definitely catch it. Catch TNA if it's something that you're not regularly watching. Check around your local channels for indie wrestling for shows that you might not seen. Watch them too. You know, that's where all your talent's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Every local area's got them.
See him before Vince has him on his show.
Yep. or Dixie.
Yeah, so he's getting better at it.
But make sure you watch all that stuff. Make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to this page. And basically, that's all we got for this week. This has been Heel Heat. I'm George Coles.
The voice of the voiceless Gary Rhodes.
And we're off to go fishing with Eric Young.